Howie Roseman has been a man on the go through the 2020 NFL Draft and beyond, and now he makes his stop here with us. The Eagles Insider Podcast, Dave Spadaro with you. Howie, how are you? Let's start with the big picture here. What do you think you accomplished for the Philadelphia Eagles throughout that 3-day weekend?
Dave, it's like Monopoly. You know, when you play Monopoly on this quarantine and you always kind of come back to home, you know, being with you is like coming back home. It's always where I start and where I end up. So thanks for having me. You know, we went into this draft weekend with an emphasis on getting good players, guys that we felt fit into our culture, guys who would increase the athleticism and competition on our football team. And we wanted to get a bunch of those guys. You know, we didn't want to have another year where we came out with 5 picks. You know, we only had 10 total the last 2 years. And just really excited about what we were able to do over the draft weekend and really the whole off season to address some things we really wanted to address, but with the right people to address them. So not just forcing them.
How it seems to me that the two areas that you kind of have emphasized in this draft, and correct me if I'm wrong, speed, number one, and then you've put a lot of trust and a lot of faith in your coaching staff to develop these players. Is that a fair read?
Well, you don't want to take speed and athleticism without also the traits to play the game. You know, someone jokingly asked me if our next draft pick was going to be Usain Bolt. And though as excited as I would be to have him on our football team, you know, you still want to have guys who have the skill set that you're looking for. So, you know, we wanted to be able to be faster at all levels. When you look at this league and where it's going on both offense and defense, it is a speed game. And you want to be fast. And we talked a lot about offense, but even defensively, you know, talking about these athletic quarterbacks, you know, the runners that we play in our division and the explosiveness they have as well, and how smart these offensive coordinators, these play callers are, just like Coach Peterson, and their ability to kind of find the weak areas of your defense and then roll.
Howie, you didn't add Usain Bolt, but you did add Marquise Goodwin, and you totally overhauled the wide receiver position to a degree. 4 wide receivers added this weekend. So let's talk specifically about that group as you see it at this point.
Yeah, we also have guys on our team still who've been successful for us. And, you know, we've talked a lot about our veteran receivers and Alshon and D-Jack and Greg Ward, a guy who's tremendously successful for us, and drafting JJ last year. And even some of these young guys, you know, just in that last game that we played against the Giants, you know, I think of Deontay Burnett and the play he made, and, you know, Robert Davis made a couple plays, and we got young guys like Sheldon. So we added a ton of competition, and, you know, for us, we didn't want to just take one shot at it. Someone said in the midst of a pick when we were deciding whether to double back up after we took Hightower with Quez, who, you know, we had really stacked very similar to Hightower. It's, you know, let's take this weakness, this team speed weakness, and make it a strength, because we evaluated this player as more than worthy of the pick we're taking. So why not do that, you know, and have hopefully some hard decisions to make on our roster. And with the increased roster size and some of the things there, then we're open to having the best players.
Howie, I know you've talked about Jalen Hurts a ton, but I'd like to talk about the group in that quarterback room. You've got 4 quarterbacks with Carson leading the way. What do you think you have right now with that foursome?
Well, we got 4 guys who are tremendous teammates and competitors who can really help each other prepare. And obviously that's led by Carson, and the expectations for us with Carson, who, you know what he did last year with that young group and leading us at the end of the year to that 4-0 record on our way to winning the NFC East, and what kind of player he is, and the talent that now, you know, hopefully we've surrounded him with, which is so important. But that's always going to be a priority for us, you know, having a strong quarterback room, and it's just what we prioritize. And, you know, just because something hasn't been done before doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing. And we're trying to be aggressive and make sure that we're doing whatever we can to protect our football team. And that room's going to start it. It's how we started this, and how we're going to end up being. We're going to be strong at that position. I remember when we extended Sam and then gave Chase that big backup quarterback deal and then traded all those picks for Carson, there was a lot of the same criticism about kind of overdoing at the quarterback position. And, I think a couple years later, you saw other teams kind of doing that kind of model. And it's just what we think is a huge priority, and we just want to be incredibly strong. And when we look at it, it's hard to find these guys, even as backups, on the third day of the draft. Like, history just isn't too kind to those kind of things. And quite frankly, we haven't had a lot of success on the third day of the draft with quarterbacks. So when we look at the combination about, Jalen and Kayvon, if we're going to take a guy in the fourth round like that, that's a combination that we're proud of and we're excited about.
Linebacker, Howie, you added 2 in the draft, Davion Taylor, Sean Bradley. As a group, adding to Nathan Gary and Edwards, etc., Duke Riley. What do you think you have at linebacker as a group?
Athleticism. I think when you look at that group as a whole, you're talking about athleticism and speed. And we talked about it again. It's hard in this league if you can't match up, because coordinators find the weakness and they find a way to get those guys matched up. And, TJ Edwards is a guy that we're extremely excited about. He's just got tremendous football instincts. When you went back and watched all of his snaps last year, he's got pop at the point of attack, and he's going to get an opportunity here to go with some of those other guys that you mentioned.
Howie, we know that the offensive line is really good, the 5 starters, but you're always adding young players to create depth and competition. So looking at that group, do you feel like you rounded it out in this draft, taking 2 players?
Yeah, losing Big V is a loss to our football team, and we have to replace that kind of guy, and we're very optimistic that Jack Driscoll can do that. He played right tackle at Auburn. We think he can play really. If he needed all 5 spots, he can snap as well. And then Prince falling to us in the 6th round. Here's a guy who played left tackle in the SEC at, playing some of the pass rushers who were drafted extremely high in this draft, and he's got the feet and athleticism to do it. And when we talked to our doctors and our performance staff led by Ted, they said this guy's still got power in his knee. They signed off on it as well, and so we're excited to get him.
Howie, 2 positions that you did not draft, running back and cornerback. How do you look at those 2 positions?
Well, we really try to address corner in the free agent market. We think Darius Slay is one of the top corners in the National Football League and feel incredibly fortunate to get him. And really, when you look at this draft with the 3rd and the 5th round pick we gave up for him, you could say that he's part of this draft class. And then Nickel Roby-Coleman's another guy that we think's been playing like top 5 nickel corner in the National Football League. And when we looked at that depth chart, we had some guys that we were looking at in the draft. It just didn't fall that way, but we feel good about that. And then we picked up a couple guys after the draft at running back that we had draftable grades on, and Michael Warren and even Adrian Killens, who's bolt lightning, another fast guy. I think he's 10.4 300-meter, Dave, which is just incredible. And then we'll keep looking. We'll keep looking. Talent acquisition season has not ended. We still have ways to continue to improve our team.
Yeah, that's a good segue, Howie, because we know you're always looking. So what actually does happen right now? How active do you think the Eagles can be? I know you've got some salary cap room reportedly. Do you anticipate a lot of veterans being released from other teams and the Eagles having an opportunity, should they choose, to improve the roster more?
Well, we'll be ready. We'll be ready, Dave. I think that if we get an opportunity to add to our team people who fit what we're looking for as a player, as a person, we're going to be open to that. And I think that's exactly right, Dave. After the draft ends, it's not like we're going on vacation. We're still working. We're still looking at every option. And that's how we transition. Sunday, just really trying to get the depth chart right and figure out and look at it and study it and say, hey, these are the areas that now we need to look at addressing if there's a possible fit for us. And the last couple of days, kind of going over free agents out there, making sure our grades are updated, and continue to be active. We want to be ready to roll whenever they give us the green light to do that. And our job is to make sure that our coaches are in the best possible position in terms of depth and in terms of talent on the football team.
Last one for you. We are in a virtual off-season program. Can you talk about exactly what that is? Describe what that is so the fans can have some sort of picture in their minds here, because that's the way life's going to be here for the next couple of months, it seems.
Yeah, it sure seems like that, Dave. Coach Peterson had a team meeting yesterday at 11 o'clock. There were 125 people, I think, on that. Just shows the dedication of our coaches and our players. And he talked about the opportunity in front of us to really come together and keep connecting with one another, so that when we're alive with each other, when we're face to face, we've started developing those bonds and pushing one another, and realizing that maybe not everyone in the National Football League is doing that right now. Maybe some people are taking this as an opportunity to have a little bit more free time, a little bit more vacation. But the teams that are going to come together, the teams that are going to work the hardest, are going to be the ones that are able to play deep into December, January, and hopefully even February. And I thought that message was unbelievable, as usual, on point by Coach Peterson. And, I think our players really took it to heart. And I know just talking to Ted about our first day of the virtual off-season program was great.
Howie, thank you so much. Great job through the weekend. Keep up the good work. And we're here anytime you want to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. Come on over here.
Yeah, same, Dave. I think that this beard that you got, that you're not coming back until we get back to NovaCare. I just want to check in.
That's right.
Periodically, and just see, like, what's it going to look like at some point? Is it going to be Kelsey-like? Is that what we're going to be doing? Is it just going to be like,
I've never had,
is it just going to be like Scruff, or are you just going to take down? You want to have a competition for charity, me versus you? Should I never shave till we get back to? Let's see. And then
yeah, sure. I'm up for that.
Year.
That's not a bad idea. I've never had facial hair, so I'm up for it, man. I don't know. I don't know how to do. I don't know what to do with this thing.
You're looking good, man. Stay safe to all our fans. Stay safe, and just excited about the opportunity that we had last week. And thanks, Dave.